Welcome back to the Tennessee Frugal Craftsman. It's a rainy day, so I am doing a picnic table for a colleague. And so I thought I would give you kind of a step-by-step layout and how to do this, materials list. So I'm at the first stage. I've got my materials, and so I'll show you what I'm doing. Step one is to get 5 2x8. Now those are just kiln dried 2x8, got at Lowe's, and I laid them out just on a flat surface, put about 1/8 of an inch space between these. I just used some cardboard. Then I measured in 16 inches from each end, so one there, and 16 inches from this end. And then I put one in the middle, and you can kind of see my screw pattern. Now I know some people don't put that many screws in, but I like to hold everything together nicely. I also used some liquid nails underneath it, subfloor adhesive, underneath of those pieces, so they're all glued down. These pieces here are 34 inches roughly, so they're in 1.5 inches from the edge of your table. And then what I did is, I'll come down here close, I actually sniped the ends off on a 45. All you do is just measure in from the end 7/8 of an inch, put a mark, and then set your skill saw or your chop saw and just snipe the end off. I did that for all of the ends, as you can see. Then I belt sanded and just kind of rounded everything over, and hopefully that will work for us. And so that's the first step, is just laying out the top. The next thing I'm going to do is the legs, and I'll come back to you in a minute. All right, step two, put the legs on. This is fairly straightforward. These are actually pressure treated, so I'm using those because they're on contact to the ground. These are on a 28-degree angle, so both top and bottom. The length is 32 1/4 inches. So this will give you about a 30-inch tall picnic table. You can make these a little longer if you want them to be taller. And so you can see there's two there. They're screwed right to the edge. This is in 1.5 inches, so that's where that point is. And I put 4 3.5-inch deck screws screwed right into the plate, support plate. So that is the next step. So those are 4 legs, all pressure treated, 28-degree bevels, 32 1/4 inches from long point, short point. Okay, we're up to the next step. We put the cross member on, and that's a fairly straightforward procedure, although I would say it's one of the more difficult parts of your actual build, because you have to have a set of hands or extra set of hands or clamps. But this is actually set approximately 15 inches from the bottom. This is going to be where the ground level is. 15.5 inches down to the bottom here. That's going to give you about a 17-inch chair. Now the length of this is about 73 5/8 from the long point to the long point. And what I did is I did a 28-degree bevel. It's kind of easy to remember because most of the angles here are 28 degrees. Remember, these legs are 28 degrees. So I just sniped this off at a 28-degree bevel. Measured in about 13, I'll just get my measuring tape here. You can see here that I'm in on that bevel about 13.5 inches. So that's where the inside of those legs are going to come. So again, over here, about 13.5 inches to the inside. And if this will help, I'm down about 9 7/8 inches from the bottom of this to the bottom of your actual leg, to the bottom of your 2x6 here. So we've got two different measurements, 9 7/8 from there to there, and 15.5 to here. Now, obviously it's going to depend on what you use for material. This is a 2x6, so if you use 2x8, you'd have a different measurement there, but the 15.5 would be the same. And so again, those are just sniped off 28-degree bevels, sand the edges off. What I've done is I put four 4 screws in each of these, and then I'm going to put some lag bolts here in a minute. And so that's step 3. Step 4 is actually to put the diagonal braces in. Now, these diagonal braces run about 36 1/8, 36 1/4, and the angle again is about 28-degree bevel, somewhere between 28 and 30-degree bevel. And so from a long point to short point, you're running about 36 1/8 inch. Now, of course, it's going to depend. If you don't have this perfectly centered, that piece there perfectly centered, if you're off 1/8 of an inch or so, then it's going to make that angle or that length a little different. But overall, it's right around 36 1/8 inch for both of those. And so we're going to screw those in, and I'll come back in a minute. Okay, I guess we're on about step 4 or 5. Bottom step 1, step 2 is legs, step 3 is the cross member, step 4 is the diagonal bracing. So this is step 5. So what I did is I measured in approximately 9 inches and down 1 1/4 inch, drilled a pilot hole and then a 3/8 hole for my lag bolt, carriage bolt. Then I measured in approximately 17 3/4 up 1 1/4 inch and did the same thing. And so I've done that for all 4 legs. As you can see, they're all done there. So now we're ready to put carriage bolts in. So I'll come back and show you that. Okay, so I've put the 8 carriage bolts in, as you can see. Those are 3/8, they're galvanized. Now, I did 4-inch, and then I took the hacksaw and cut them off and just ground them down a bit with my belt sander just to smooth these edges off so they didn't catch somebody's leg. But a 3.5 would probably work because you've only got 3 inches of stock, 1.5 inch. You're not in your washer, so 3.5 is ideal. That way you won't have to mess around with cutting them off. You just kind of have to round them a bit. But it takes 2, like I said, on each one of those. So that's the next step. Okay, we're on step number 6. What I've done is I've taken 2 8-foot 2x6. I have stepped in about 8 inches, and then I've put a cleat. This cleat is about 10 inches, so this is about 11 inches wide, and so coming in about 1/2 inch each way. And again, I'm just using a 28-degree bevel. I'm trying to keep everything consistent. That's pretty much what all the angles are here, 28 degrees, maybe with the exception of the 45-degree snipes on those. But even those could be a full 28. Then what I did is I sanded, smoothed everything off, and I put one in the middle. So I've done 2 of them here. You can see I got the other one over there ready to go on. So they're in 8 inches from the end. The pieces, the cleats are 10 inches, and then there's one in the dead center. This one, and what I did is I put 6 screws, 3 in each one. As you can see here, everything, of course, when I put it together has got subfloor glue underneath of it. So it'll harden up and help with the holding of the screws. And so we are at the point of flipping this over and actually putting the seats on. And so I will come back in a minute. Okay, I've now got the, get around here so you can see. Sorry, we're now got the benches on. So the only thing that's going to be left is just a little bit of sanding. I'm going to sand along the edges. I might take and straighten these edges up here. They're really not that bad, but I may just take 1/4 inch or so off with my skill saw and then belt sand it. But for all intents and purposes, this is a completed picnic table. What I did is I measured in the distance here to there, which was 14.5 inches. And what I did is here, measured in 14.5 to the inside edge. So that's even with this. Put a mark, you can see there, put a mark, and then I just screwed across. You have to set these legs because they could be racked just a bit. And so now, you can see there, same type of thing. I just measured in, set the leg and screwed it down. And so does a nice job when we're done. Now it's a big picnic table. As you can see, I'll step back here a bit. So it's a nice big picnic table. And so I've given you now all the dimensions that you need. The only thing that I didn't show you is when I set this bench, I actually set it right even with the outside edge of this 28-degree bevel. And so that gives about 1.5 inches in here. Like I said, I just kind of made a rough guess on where I wanted those benches. If you wanted that bench in closer, then you could just snipe that end 2x6 off down there. This one here, make it a little bit less, but that's for the most part sitting on it. It's just a very comfortable distance. It's a nice big table. And so the materials on this cost right around $200 in today's cost of wood. So you're going to have the best part of $200 just in material. It's taken me about 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours to build this. So yeah, if you're paying somebody, obviously you have that cost as well. But for about $200, you can get a nice 8-foot picnic table, and now you have all the dimensions. And I will put the materials lists in down below here. Right, you'll see it in the video. I'll put it in a box, and so you'll get all the materials lists, exactly what you need. So you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot and just pick it up, bring it home, and if you follow my instructions and directions, you should be perfectly fine. Now, in all fairness and to be full disclosure, I am following very closely to this old house, the one that they do. I did a few modifications on it as far as how I put, kind of with specific measurements and measurements of the cross pieces and whatnot. I give you more of that detail than what they give. And so this is actually a little bit more detailed in its instruction. So I appreciate you joining me for building a picnic table today. I will see you next time. Hopefully I'm going to be out on the property sometime this week to do a little bit more planing. But until then, I always appreciate you joining me. And if you would, please like and subscribe. Until next time, you have a great day. All right, we have an addendum to the video. This is now, I just got to step back out of the way here. It's, as you can see, we got it set right underneath the tree. There's the house. And there's the picnic table under a nice shade tree right there. And so the homeowner insisted I take a video and show you what it looks like now in its location. So I'll sit down here. This is going to be the view from the picnic table. They're being able to look back at their house, look out across the yard to the main road. Now you can do your own project. Have a nice day.